Hey everyone, welcome back to another wild ride of entitled people stories. In today's episode, we've got a next-level Karen who grew up never hearing the word no, and as a result, decided she deserved to have my entire house handed over to her. Buckle up, this one's insane. So, a few years ago, my grandmother passed away. We were really close, and while I was heartbroken by her death, I was even more shocked to find out that she had left her house to me. I felt incredibly honored, and I moved in right away, determined to keep it looking like a place she would have been proud of. Over the next few years, I poured in time, energy, and savings to restore it. I didn't want to erase her presence, just bring it back to life. Once it was finally in shape, I felt like I'd done her memory justice. But, surprise, surprise, that's exactly when things started getting strange. One of the neighbors who I'd barely ever interacted with suddenly took a bizarre interest in my home. Let's call her Karen. I had never really spoken to her. She didn't even acknowledge me before my grandma passed. I'd wave when we passed on the street and she'd just completely ignore me. I chalked it up to snobbery or maybe some old beef with my grandma, but I didn't think much of it. Well, until the day she walked over to my door and asked me, dead serious, when I was planning to give her my house. Yeah. Give her my house. At first, I thought it had to be a joke. Maybe she was complimenting the renovations, and it just came out wrong. So I gave a nervous laugh. That was a mistake. Instantly, she snapped, face turning red, practically shaking. She accused me of being ungrateful and disrespecting her very generous offer. Meanwhile, my cat was yowling in the background like he couldn't believe it either. Before I could even process what was happening, she stormed off. I stood there, stunned. Later that day, while sorting through my mail, I found several letters from real estate agents offering to buy the house. Most were vague, but a few mentioned specific buyers, and suddenly, it all clicked. Karen had been trying to buy the house behind my back, likely for pennies, and since I hadn't bitten, she'd apparently decided it was time to claim it, and her entitlement didn't stop there. Soon I began noticing strange looks from other neighbors. Nothing hostile, just confused glances, like they weren't sure what to believe. That's when I realized Karen was spreading rumors. According to her, she and my grandma were best friends for years. They weren't. And my grandma had promised her the house, asking me only to tidy it up before handing it over. When I finally talked to some neighbors, the truth spilled out. Far from being friends, Karen and my grandma had serious beef. They'd had full-blown screaming matches and not the friendly kind. So Karen had always wanted the property. Whether she wanted to move in, rent it out, or sell it, no one knew. Frankly, I didn't care. I wasn't about to let her bully me into giving her anything. Now, when I say I renovated the house, I don't mean I just slapped on a new coat of paint. The interior was livable, sure, but the exterior? Total disaster. The backyard fence had completely rotted and fallen apart. So I replaced it, built a beautiful new fence, and received a bunch of compliments from the neighborhood, except, of course, from Karen. Not long after, the fence was mysteriously damaged, sections broken, paint ruined. I suspect she hired someone to do it. There's no way she lifted a finger herself. I didn't even realize what her goal was until I got more lowball offers in the mail. This time the offers were even lower, citing visible exterior damage. It was clear now. Karen was trying to devalue the home so I'd feel forced to sell. So I marched over to her house, knocked, waited forever, and when she finally opened the door, she casually asked me if I was ready to hand over the house yet. I was floored. I asked her point blank if she'd just grown up getting everything she ever wanted. Her response: of course, I was never told no as a child. At that moment, everything clicked. Karen wasn't just entitled. She was literally conditioned to believe the world owed her everything. Still, I figured ignoring her would be best. She wasn't going to win. But then another letter showed up, this time from a supposed law firm. It claimed there was a clause in my grandma's will stating that the house was actually meant for Karen, but had been overlooked. I panicked for a second, until I did some digging. The law firm was real, but they had no record of this case. That's right. Karen forged the letter using some online template and hoped I'd just roll over and give her the deed. Unreal. That was it. I was done being quiet. I shared everything, the forged letter, her vandalism, the whole story, with the community and online. People rallied behind me. Turns out she'd rubbed a lot of people the wrong way over the years. Some neighbors even helped me rebuild the damaged fence. We ended up making it a monthly get-together, with barbecues, laughs, and zero Karens. In a strange way, I guess I can thank her for helping me bond with my community. But no, Karen never got the house. What she got instead was a heavy dose of... Okay, so this is one of those stories where you just sit back and go, wait, what just happened? Imagine giving someone a gift, like a huge, life-changing gift, and instead of being thankful, they treat it like you committed a crime. That's exactly what happened to me when I bought my girlfriend a car, and she told me it was strike 3. Yeah, buckle in. So here's a bit of context first. I come from a pretty wealthy family. Now I work for the family business, so technically I'm not spending daddy's money anymore. But the lifestyle didn't just disappear. I've been dating my girlfriend for about a year and 5 months, and honestly, she's amazing. No matter how I'm feeling, down, bored, overwhelmed, she's the one person who can always lift my mood. When we first started dating, I intentionally avoided flashing any wealth. I wanted her to like me, not my bank account. I kept things simple for the first few months. But after I got comfortable, I started spending more freely. 3 months in, I got her a tablet, mid-range, about $600 or so. She didn't say much, seemed fine with it. I didn't think I was being excessive. Then, 7 months into the relationship, I spotted this gorgeous bracelet while shopping for my little brother's birthday. It cost $6,000. I know, it's a lot, but for me, not an outrageous splurge. So I bought it for her. Big mistake. She refused it. Told me to return it. I kept saying it was okay, that I wanted to give it to her, that there were no strings attached. I even suggested she give it to her sister for her wedding. She still said no. Later, she told me it was a red flag that I even thought giving her something that expensive was okay. About a month after that, I realized I was in love with her, and she said she loved me too. To celebrate, I planned a super chill, just us kind of date. No fancy restaurant, no expensive gifts, just takeout from our favorite place and sitting by the mountain, her favorite spot. It was peaceful, sweet, intimate. Everything felt perfect. Until in the car, she quietly said she thought I'd have planned something a little fancier. All right, mental note taken. Fast forward to 4 days ago. Her 25th birthday. We've been together nearly a year and a half. We've talked about the future, love, long-term stuff. I felt like I knew her. So I decided to go big again. I bought her a car, a full-on titled registered car. Not a flashy sports car, just something reliable and cute that I knew she'd love. She said thank you, smiled in the moment. Then we got back to her place. That's when she told me that this was my 3rd and final strike. I was floored. I didn't even know I was playing baseball, let alone that I already had 2 strikes. She told me she didn't know how to fix the situation, and since then we haven't really talked. We're not officially broken up, but there's just silence. Looking back, I guess the tablet was strike 1, the bracelet was strike 2, and the car, the final blow. To be clear, when I give gifts, I don't do it expecting anything in return. I've even told her that. I'm not trying to create some imbalance or make her feel obligated. And for the record, I hate receiving gifts. Haven't accepted birthday presents since I was 10. But giving, I love it. It's how I show love, especially to someone I deeply care about. So yeah, I was totally lost. And honestly, kind of heartbroken. Eventually, I asked if we could sit down and just talk. No drama, just honesty. She agreed. That's when she finally told me what had been building up for her. She doesn't like getting expensive gifts, not because she's ungrateful, but because they make her feel like she's in my debt, like a gold digger, or like she'll never be able to do something equivalent for me. That kind of pressure made her uncomfortable. She told me she'd rather get little things, flowers, chocolate, a sweet note. I felt awful. Not because she didn't love the gifts, but because I hadn't considered how she felt receiving them. I was so focused on doing what I thought was nice that I completely missed how it was landing on her. I also brought up the 3-strike thing, told her it didn't feel fair that I didn't even know I was being judged. She agreed, and said from now on, she'll just tell me directly if something bothers her, instead of secretly adding it to some invisible scoreboard. Someone online asked me, "Were you hoping she'd be less likely to break up with you because of the gifts?" And if I'm being brutally honest, yeah, I want her to stay. Everything I do for her, from bringing her breakfast in bed to massaging her shoulders after work, it's all because I want to be the best partner I can be. I'm in this fully. I love her. I also asked about that fancy date comment from earlier, and she admitted that while she wasn't disappointed, she had expected something a bit more upscale that time. But she added that she realizes now that what counts as a lot for her and what counts as a lot for me are very different. A $6,000 gift for me doesn't feel extreme. For her, it's overwhelming. And honestly, it opened my eyes. I've lived a pretty cushioned life. Even during the pandemic, I was okay financially. And I know now that this kind of spending, for others, just isn't normal. When I tell her I'm thinking about dropping 5 figures on something I hadn't even planned to buy an hour ago, she looks at me like I'm speaking another language. And she's right. I don't need those things. I just want them, she said. If I really want to do good with my money, there are better ways. So guess what we did? We donated the car. We gave it to someone who lost their job, and seeing her face light up with that decision made me feel like, for once, I really understood her. So yeah, we're still figuring things out. There's a gap between our upbringings, sure, but we're learning to meet in the. So here's a story that'll probably sound painfully familiar to anyone who's ever worked with someone who always finds a way to dodge responsibility. Let's talk about a coworker who thinks her kids are a get-out-of-work-free card, and how I finally decided enough was enough. I'm a 28-year-old woman, single, no kids, living alone. I also don't take on extra shifts, overtime, or go above and beyond just for show. And by the way, I'm not in the US, so work culture might differ a bit, but office drama? That's universal. I work in internal auditing, specifically the logistics division. Basically, companies hire us to evaluate how efficient their operations are. That means we go in, observe, take notes, and find ways they can improve their logistics. Whether it's delivery, warehouse processes, night shifts, you name it. The best part? We have a great manager and team lead who are super flexible. As long as your final report gets submitted on time, no one cares if you work from home, from the office, or at 3 a.m. in your pajamas. I've been with this team for 6 years. In that time, I've watched one specific coworker, also a woman in her 30s, do everything she can to work as little as possible. Always pregnant, on maternity leave, taking extended vacations, or sick right when the heavy lifting starts. She always has a doctor's note ready, and since our company allows unlimited paid time off with medical documentation, she uses it like a cheat code. Now, when she is in the office, she finds ways to shove her work onto others, and while most of the team puts up with it, I don't. I never have. This time around, we were assigned a huge client. The audit required every team member to pitch in. Since we rotate between fieldwork and data analysis, it was my turn to stay back and do the report writing while others traveled to the client site, which was in another city. The field team would be there for 3 weeks. Then she approached me. She asked me to switch with her so that I'd be the one traveling, and she could stay home and do the analysis work instead. Her excuse? Her husband can't possibly manage their 5 kids on his own. I told her no. She immediately launched into guilt trip mode. Said she'd have to pay for childcare, which would cost more than her entire paycheck. Said I don't understand what it's like to have real responsibilities. I looked her straight in the face and said, "They're not my kids, so I don't see how that's my problem." She pouted and sulked like a teenager who got their phone taken away. And of course, some of our coworkers started whispering that I should have been more compassionate. "You don't know how hard-working moms have it," they said. Sure. But here's the thing. They aren't asking me to understand. They're asking me to sacrifice my time and job responsibilities for someone who's been dodging work for, years. I'm not heartless. But this woman chose to have 5 kids. She chose this career. And if she can't meet the basic travel requirements that come with the job, maybe she's in the wrong field. Reddit? Am I really the villain here? I don't think so. I've watched people like her take advantage over and over again. One commenter actually said something that stuck with me. They once had a coworker like this who would try to control everyone's vacation schedule just so her family could travel whenever they wanted. She wasn't even a manager. She treated coworkers without kids like they were defective or less important, and that's exactly how it feels sometimes. Like if you're single and child-free, your time isn't valuable, that you owe it to people with families to do more, sacrifice more, and keep your mouth shut while doing it. Another person nailed it. If travel is an essential part of the job, and she can't travel, then she shouldn't be in that job. Simple as that. I didn't ask her to have 5 children, I didn't choose her husband, I didn't sign up to carry the weight of her personal life. So no, I didn't switch, I didn't cave, and I have 0 regrets. And before we wrap up, here's one last short story from the Petty Revenge Files, a nice little palate cleanser. So this guy has a brother-in-law who's super insecure and kind of a pain to be around. He's also one of those people who constantly leaves chores undone. A while back, the guy and his wife went to visit her sister and this brother-in-law for the weekend. While the brother-in-law was at work, he's a police officer, the sister-in-law casually mentioned all the stuff he hadn't done. Furniture left unassembled, toys still in boxes, cardboard all over the garage. So our guy offered to help. And oh, did he help? In just a few hours, he had everything built, fixed, sorted, and cleaned up, including the snowy, frozen driveway the brother-in-law had driven over for days. As a bonus, he adjusted all the kitchen, cabinets too. Needless to say, when the brother-in-law got home, he was not thrilled. But his wife was. She couldn't stop praising how quickly everything got done. Our guy didn't say a word, just smiled, knowing that his subtle revenge had landed perfectly. So, yeah, sometimes the best way to deal with annoying people is just to quietly outshine them. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hit that like button if you've ever dealt with someone like this, and stick around because the next